I'm Lexi. I'm in the US. Today we're going to look a little bit at buttermilk. Buttermilk is the stuff left over when you make butter out of cream. It's like a liquidy, acidic liquid, often with bits of butter in it, that's a byproduct of the butter churning process. And you can find it fairly readily in the US in grocery stores. It's in the dairy department. Of course, it doesn't have as much shelf space as milk does, but it's usually there. Now, I've been led to believe that it's pretty hard to get in some other countries, that stores don't carry it. So there's this hack out there, and people in the US use it too, where you're supposed to be able to add lemon juice to regular milk to kind of create a buttermilk substitute. And frankly, I've always been very derisive and dismissive of that, because how on earth is that going to taste anywhere near the same? But you know what? I'm willing to be wrong. So I've got some buttermilk, and I've got some milk and lemon juice, and we are going to go inside and make one of my favorite recipes that uses buttermilk: chocolate cupcakes. We're going to make two batches, one with the traditional buttermilk and one with the hack. So let's go inside. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is make our buttermilk substitution. To make buttermilk, you need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice for every cup of milk. Well, I've got half a cup of milk here. I'll put that there. And I'm going to add half a tablespoon of lemon juice. We're just going to eyeball that, but that's about half a tablespoon of lemon juice. And then that just needs to sit while we deal with the rest of the ingredients. In these bowls, I have 1 cup of sugar. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of melted and cooled butter. And then each of them gets 1 whole egg. Along with 1 additional, whoops, I almost did that wrong. I almost did that very wrong. 1 additional egg yolk. Give me a second, I'm going to wash the egg off my hands. All right, next in goes some vanilla, and we measure this with our hearts. And then we fight a little bit with the vanilla container, apparently. There it goes. And then we're going to mix these up. Next in goes the buttermilk. Well, that doesn't look like it's done much of anything to me, but in it goes. Okay, and some dry ingredients. Each of these is going to get 1 cup of flour, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. So a half and a half. And a quarter and a quarter. And then half a teaspoon of baking powder. And the all-important ingredient that makes them chocolate cupcakes, cocoa powder. For this recipe, you want to make sure that you use the dark or the Dutch processed cocoa. It's a darker cocoa. I think it has a deeper cocoa flavor, and I prefer to use it in chocolate cakes over regular cocoa powder. I forgot a measuring cup for that. Each of these is going to get a half a cup of cocoa powder, and this is a 1/4 cup measure, so I'm going to put in 2. I'm going to have a lot of cupcakes tomorrow. And then give these a mix. Okay, and just give me a second to clean some of this up and get my muffin tins, and we'll get these scooped out for the oven. Okay, so I thought I had 2 different colors of liners, but I don't. So we'll have to come up with some other way to remember which cupcakes are buttermilk and which ones are substitute. Really? There's 22 in a mini star? That's odd. There we go. And then I'm just going to use my scooper and put 1 scoop of batter into each one. Now this is my normal chocolate cake recipe. Anytime I want to make chocolate cupcakes or chocolate cake, this is the recipe I use. So this is a tried and true recipe. The only thing that we're experimenting with here is the buttermilk. Although I remember this recipe making a dozen cupcakes. So there is a distinctive possibility that I am overfilling these. I'm going to get a spoon and make these cupcakes a bit smaller. Let those settle a little bit while we scoop out the other ones and see if I need to adjust them anymore. So I'm just not going to fill the scoop up the whole way now. And I think the way we're going to tell these apart is this one has missing cupcakes on the end, and for this one I'll make the missing cupcakes in the middle. Okay, I'm gonna get a scraper. Okay. And I'm just going to add this to one because I want to make sure that I have an empty cupcake so I know what's what. I'm going to put these in the oven and then I'll come right back and we can make some frosting. Frosting. Okay, so we're going to make a salted caramel buttercream. And we're going to start with 1 stick of softened butter. And, well, I apparently did not have that in there correctly. 1 stick of softened butter, and we're going to whip that up a little bit. Now, this probably isn't going to be enough frosting to do 24 cupcakes, but whatever it doesn't frost, I will just wrap the cupcakes up in foil and put them in the freezer and enjoy them later, because I don't need that many cupcakes all at once. Now this is dulce de leche that I just bought at the store. Now you can make this just by boiling a can of sweetened condensed milk for several hours. But I just didn't have 3 hours to boil a can of milk this week. So I took the path of least resistance and bought some. And we're going to put in the whole can. Get that a mix. And then we need to add some powdered sugar. You know what? I never measure this. Sorry. We're going to start there. That's maybe a 1.5 cups-ish. And we're going to put in a pinch of salt because it's salted caramel, right? And now I judge this more by the texture than the taste. But that does need more sugar. About like that. I need another spoon. Okay, I like that. So I'm just going to set this aside until the cupcakes come out of the oven and they cool a bit, and then I will see you back at our usual location for the all-important taste test. See you in a minute. Okay, I've got 2 cupcakes here. The one with the toothpick is the one that was made with the batter with the milk and lemon juice. Let's start with the regular buttermilk cupcake. Now, I didn't bother with a piping bag. I just slathered some icing on top. But by all means, you can pipe it on top and make it look all pretty. I was just kind of not feeling up to that today. We all have those days, right? That frosting is a little dominant. It's good, don't get me wrong. It was just probably not the best frosting to pick for a comparative taste test. But we can eat a bit of the cake. It's a light, fluffy, deep, dark, rich chocolate cake. And that's what I like about this chocolate cake, is how dark and rich it is. And a bit of just the cake. It's close. It's really close. And because of the chocolate, it probably hides a lot of the subtlety. Maybe I should have done this with biscuits or pancakes. Maybe I will do this with biscuits or pancakes. Do you want to see that? This one has just a touch more unctuousness to it. And that would make sense because buttermilk has more fat in it than, at least I would think it does, has more fat in it than the butter, or than the milk and lemon juice. I do still think I prefer the buttermilk. Does the recipe come out all right if you use the hack? Yes. If I get in a pinch where I need these cupcakes for something and I don't have buttermilk, am I going to stress over it? Probably not. I'll probably just make them this way with the hack now. But if I'm planning ahead, I'll get the buttermilk. I am interested in how it would taste if I made biscuits or pancakes. Something where you don't have such a powerful flavor as chocolate to mask the subtleties of the buttermilk. I didn't necessarily think that one through. I just went, this is my favorite recipe that uses buttermilk. If you want to see me try this with pancakes or biscuits, let me know that down below. I'm happy to give it a try. But that's all I've got for today. So if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!